We're back.
We are. Welcome back. We made it.
So soon.
Yeah, we're ready to go already, man. I don't know what happened. We're just super excited about this fucking
Hi,
game,
it's good
huh?
to see you again.
It's
We
good to see you
finished
too.
Great to start the weekend with Detroit.
Mission 11 5 minutes ago. We were about to quit for the night, and then you were like, "Well, I'm still not ready to go to sleep." And I was like, "Well, I was drinking that Red's blueberry ale, and it was making me sleepy, and I also just didn't want to drink it anymore. So I was ready to go to sleep, and you were ready to keep going. So I was like, "Fuck it." So I was like, "Pop some Monster Energy drink." I shelved the rest of the Red's blueberry ale. Do not drink that shit. Actually, now I just like to wake myself up with the Monster, and I like grabbed a slice of French brioche bread. We put some mozzarella cheese on it, and as I took my first swallow, I realized that red shit made my fucking throat hurt. Like I'm getting a cold or some shit.
Really?
I don't know what the fuck is in there, man.
That's
Don't
a
buy
bummer.
Red's blueberry ale. So I switched.
What do you have
I'll be
now?
drinking a different drink. Now it's Not Your Father's Mountain Ale.
Nice.
So this, you and I have we're fans of this brewer. This is, I mean, I've gone
Legal
from one
Fox,
like
right?
not,
Legal Fox is also, yeah.
She picked that the orange version of this, so I'm interested in it because I'm a fan of like the root beer. They got the right mix between soda and alcohol, I thought, and so I'm kind of interested to see how this citrus brew is going.
I was going to ask you. So what? I've never heard of the Mountain Ale. So what is that specifically?
It says, "Let this refreshing citrus brew take it to new heights. Elevate your taste buds with balanced and bright flavors achieved through true craftsmanship. We know you'll enjoy it. We do."
Nice.
So let's see here. Like most of these, it tastes like soda, first and foremost,
right?
With a kick, and it's not really, really, really nasty sugary. It tastes like good soda, and they threw some alcohol in it. So nice. I'm good. I'm happy with this. Is much better than the syrupy fucking blueberry Red's blueberry. Yeah.
That's awesome. Nice.
How about you?
So I switched over to I've had this many times before. We have had this on tap years ago in the man cave while we were recording one time. But I've had it multiple times on tap. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite the winter beers. It's Sierra Nevada Celebration. So it's their Celebration, which is their fresh hop IPA. So it's like a winter IPA. So basically, this one is, it says, "We first brewed Celebration IPA in the winter of 1981. Each year we use only the first fresh hops of the growing season to create this complex and robust ale. Layered pine and citrus hop aroma balanced delicately against rich malt sweetness to shape this bold wintertime classic." And then this is their 2018 Celebration Fresh Hop IPA. And on the front it says, "A special ale for the holidays. Celebration IPA features the first hops of the growing season. And we hope you enjoy the pioneering ale that's full of complex flavors and aromas from the generous use of whole cone American hops." And this one is 6.8%, I believe. 6.8% by ABV.
So like more ABV, significantly more ABV than your normal American beer, but
yes,
not over the top.
But not anything crazy. And this one it immediately smells very piney, like as soon as you open it up.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of not like, I don't tend to favor Sierra Nevada.
Right.
Although they specialize in IPAs, which first of all, now I'm getting away from, but I just remember that they just overwhelmingly went with the piney flavor overall for most of them. And I just kind of didn't really like the sensation of drinking a pine, like a tree.
Right.
But I could see, but it wasn't bad. It was it was solidly done for what it was. It just never really said. So does this follow that tradition of kind of leaning towards that? So sounds like it does. The piney flavor.
Smells very piney, but it doesn't necessarily taste as piney as it smells, which is a nice counterpoint to it, right? Because you get because the piney smell to me is good during the holidays, right? Like during the winter, I like the idea of a piney IPA because I like that idea of it kind of evokes like a Christmas tree smell, right? Which is a good version of an IPA during the winter versus during the summer. I want one that way more smells like on the citrus side. I want it to be way more where it smells kind of like fruit, because that evokes more of like, hey, it's hot out. I want something that's going to be refreshing, versus something that evokes the idea of like of a pine tree that is way more when it's winter and cold out, right? So this one smells on the piney side, but it doesn't taste it as much. I'm not saying that it's not there, but you definitely taste it less than you smell it, but you get a nice kick of the hoppiness, which I know, again, you're obviously kind of transitioning away from IPAs just in general, but this is such a really good one, because it just evokes the best of both worlds. And so that's kind of some of the beauty of a well done IPA in the wintertime. Like a winter IPA is good because it doesn't taste like something that you're like, oh, I want to be like sitting outside in 95 degrees by the pool, drinking this. But it's also not like super heavy like a stout where you're like, oh man, I feel like after I finish one of them, I need to take like a nap because I'm so tired. This splits that difference right down the middle, where I get it evokes the feeling of a winter beer, but it has the taste of something that is like more drinkable, that you can kind of have, you can session a little bit more. And 6.8 is, it's close. It's not quite sessionable. Obviously, it's heavier than your average, like 6%, but it's not that much higher than that. So a 6.8, you can do these pretty much for a night and have a good time. So I'm gonna enjoy this bad boy.
Yeah, and I'll actually say, remember how I was like, hey, I'd like to give you an update now a few minutes later on the Reds, and
Yes.
when I was drinking the Reds Blueberry, and I was like, oh, you know what? In retrospect, where I originally said, yeah, it's all right, now I'm like, yeah, it sucks.
Right.
This one is growing on me more as I drink it.
Really?
Again, it tastes like a mixed drink, and now like in a very sessionable one. Hey,
That's
shout
cool.
out to V Power V in the chat. What's up, man? Glad to have you.
Nice.
So yeah, our brethren on the other side of the pond are now waking up and saying, "Hey, you know what? As
These guys are
cleaning the house,
psychopaths.
doing whatever my
Yeah.
whatever my Saturday morning chores are, let me throw on these fucking drunk assholes and find out what kind of shit they're talking." So
Right.
we're talking beer right now. Again, oh, by the way, I never said the name of the brewery. The brewery's actually Small Town Brewery.
Yes.
And again, not your father's mountain ale. And the more I drink it, it's like it tastes like I made myself like a weaker side mixed drink, like not like in a bad way, like I'm just crude, like I'm not gonna get drunk off of this shit, but
Right.
there's just that little kick of alcohol that reminds me that this is an alcoholic beverage, and
Right.
I'm just enjoying the citrus brew. So this is nice. This is just
Right.
this is kind of waking me back up again. As you see at the end of the last episode, it's kind of teetering out.
Yes.
After drinking that nasty fucking syrupy Reds Blueberry Ale, and
Right.
now this shit's kind of like putting the pep back in my step. Maybe, yeah. I only took one sip of that Monster Energy drink. I almost feel like I don't want to drink the Monster Energy drink anymore. So,
Right. And so it's
Anyway.
funny that it's funny though, because the way you describe that, it sounds kind of like a drink that is that's something that you would have like when you go out for like brunch, like when you go get like a mimosa or something like that, where it's like it's got the flavors, that it's not too hard or too heavy, and it's something that like can actually give you like a little bit of a kick, as opposed to kind of take the edge off and bring you back a little bit, which is kind of cool if it is like that, right? It's that idea of being just the right amount of alcohol to give you the taste of knowing you're having something alcoholic, but not so heavy where you feel like you're like, kind of slowing down by drinking it. And so that's kind of cool, which is one of the things
I'm
that
not
they're
gonna
pretty good
lie.
at.
I really like my ABV content, so if they kick this shit up to 10, I would be totally fine with it.
Absolutely.
But just overall, the drink tastes good and not in a syrupy, nasty way. This is just done well, so
Absolutely.
I'm with it. I'll drink the shit, and I'll
Right.
be happy about
And
it.
we will, at some point, I want to throw this to you more because I want you to remember this, so between the two of us, we can remember to do this. I do want to do, at one point when we do an episode, where we do a kind of a dichotomy between your higher ABVs and your lower ABVs, because I think now we are living in this reawakening of beer on the lower end, of people realizing, because at certain points, right, it was a race to the bottom. It was like, how much, like, I want to be the highest alcohol content possible. I want to be the highest ABV for an IPA. I want to be the highest ABV for a stout. Like, that's where we were. That's what brewers were trying to do. And then they started realizing, like, well, flavor and ABV are two different things. And I can make something that tastes amazing, and it can be, it can be a 4.5% like ABV, and I can make something that is 13% ABV and might actually taste like shit. And so now, as you have these guys starting to realize, like, you have brewers trying to test the other ends of the pool, right? And say, hey, what if we try something that's like only 5.2, but it tastes fucking awesome, and it like has so much shit happening in it that you're excited about drinking it. And I think it would be a fun thing to do on the show, on Live from the Man Cave, to like, let's just try something that's like usually outside of you and I wheelhouse, because normally what we do is we scan a list of beers and we look at the ABVs first too, right? And we're like, well, let me just see. I might as well get my money's worth, right? Let me get my money's worth and get something where I'm going to get a bang for my buck. And like, it's kind of interesting to try a thing where we would say, hey, let's try and see the other end of the spectrum and see if we can find something that would be as interesting and good to us that is maybe the polar opposite of ABV. So it's something we can think about.
This idea you want to try, does it involve drinking?
It certainly does. It's actually revolves
I'm on board.
exclusively around drinking. So I think you should be on board. Perfect.
All right.
Speaking of, we did say we're going to jump right into this. We are only 10 minutes in, so we're well ahead of the game right now. This is, in case you've just tuned in and you have no idea what the fuck is happening, this is Ready Player 2, which is our video game spin-off of our Live from the Man Cave podcast, where what we basically do is we just log in, we grab a couple of beers, we get drunk, and we play some video games together, whether it is us actually playing simultaneously, whether it's us competing against each other, or in this case, where it's me playing a game and Jess just sitting in the background mocking all of my horrible decisions that I make. Whatever it is, that's what Ready Player 2 is. So it's whatever it needs to be at any given point in time. That's what's happening right now. We are playing Detroit Become Human.
Shame.
You are.
Shame.
You are shaming me regularly. Like, well, you got 68%? I got 94%, bitch. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's
superior.
That seemed unnecessary, but good point. Your number is higher than mine, so well done. So
makes me feel good about myself. It gets me through the day.
It really does. It should, because it makes me feel bad about myself, and everything is a push and pull. So if I feel bad about myself, it means that you have to feel good about yourself. That's how life works, right?
Exactly.
So one of the things that this game is all about, it's obviously a highly story-driven game. It is a very decision-driven game, and the one key thing about this game is that Jess has already played and beaten it, and I have not. This is my first time through. So you get the nice split of me going through moments for the first time, whereas Jess has the benefit of hindsight and is able to go back and say,
like hindsight.
And hindsight, hindsight is what we should be doing right now if we wanted to turn this into a totally different podcast. But let's get turned. So what he is able to look at individual decisions I make and how that interacts with the future of this game, and the next chapters coming forward, and he can. We talk about it after the fact, so we get to break down why did I make certain decisions, what was I thinking, what kind of led to it, and then we do talk about sometimes spin out into larger life discussions as this game relates to things that make us think about shit that are unrelated to what's actually happening but remind us of things. So we go from what did you think about the dynamics of that actual chapter all the way out to what do you think about the existence of God and everything in the middle, right? That's kind of what we've now covered in this game. So join us in our you can join us on the Discord channel and see when these shows are coming, but you can definitely check us out on you can come in live and join us on Twitch. You can watch our games on YouTube and see them after the fact if you just kind of want to listen to the playthrough and listen to the talk after the fact. But we highly recommend people jump into the room, because anytime you can jump in, like VPower V, you can jump in. It's 7:30 for him right now, but he is logging in and having shit to say about what we're about to play through. So it's kind of an interesting, it's an interesting mix to get in and hear what we're saying live and be able to interact with us as it's happening, right? Did I miss anything?
Hell yeah.
Anything else that I'm missing before we jump in? All right.
No,
you describe where we're at right now.
Yeah, so we encourage you highly. I posted in the chat our past episodes for this project are up on YouTube. This is mission 12 we're heading into right now, and if you're just listening live and you're not caught up on the prior episodes, I could catch you up where we're at now. There are three main characters in this story. The one we're going to be dealing with in this mission is Connor. Connor is an android negotiator, like hostage negotiator, that we saw featured in the first mission of the story, where he came in and saved a little girl that had been taken hostage by a deviant android that broke through its programming when he found out that the family that he had been living with and he considered himself part of was going to find a better model and get rid of him. And he didn't take that very well.
And now we know what would have happened to him. based on the last episode, we know what would have happened
He's
to him.
about to get
It
put in
would
the
have been a
fucking
real
junk
big
pile.
bummer. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Connor then, after that, reappears back in an episode called Partners, where he's partnered up with this detective, a human detective who is highly decorated and has some shit that is in his past that's currently fucking with him, and he's like a fucking mess of an alcoholic, but he used to be like a fucking big shot hero cop. And Connor gets partnered up with him to kind of investigate this phenomenon of androids around the city breaking their programming and committing acts of violence against their owners. And as Connor is finding out in previous missions, in the first case he's assigned to, he sees that the android that went loose and murdered his owner by stabbing him like 28 times had been a constantly abused android who was being worked over with a baseball bat before he finally turned on his owner, attacked him, and killed him. And then when they bring him in to interrogate him, they find out that the android was not just doing it like as a breaking crazy programming, like he actually wanted to live, and he felt he was in fear of dying, and then he felt all these human type emotions of, kind of this feeling of injustice of being abused, and all the abuse just mounting up to where he kind of broke his programming and let loose in a rage and turned on his owner. So now our current mission is called Waiting for Hank, and we're about to find out what happens back at the police station with his new partner, Hank.
And in case anyone cares,
Connor
by the way, the last episode with Connor is where the infamous Live from the Man Cave Fick! That's where that came from.
Fick! Yeah, it had that fucking weirdo cop.
If you ever listen to that, any of our recent episodes, and you wonder why the fuck are these weirdos yelling Fick at each other constantly, it is because of that shitty
For some reason, this cop in the fucking American precinct has this weird ass like foreign accent. That's like, Fick!
Yeah, like 3 times in a row. Like they go out of their way for him to say, they're like, put the gun down to the guy, and he's like, Fick! And then you're like, wait, did he just say Fick? And then he's like, Fick! And you're like, wait, what? Wait, you're doubling down on it? And then as he walks out, he's just like, you better watch yourself. Fick! And he punches the door and he walks out. And you're like, well, I don't... All right, like what country is this taking place in? I love this weird Detroit that's like in America but not.
That's the Detroit way to say fuck. They say Fick.
So, by the way, trust me, by the end of you listening to this podcast, you'll also at home be saying Fick, because it is we have infiltrated the minds of so many people. It's great. All right, so you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Let's kick it off. So just by the way, just fun fact, this is taking place roughly about 6.5 hours after the last episode that we just played, the where he's climbing out of the pile, because that was November 6th also at 3:30 in the morning. And so now we're at 9:56 in the morning on November 6th. So same day. Let's see what's happening with Connor. Let's kick it off and see what's happening next with Connor's waiting for Hank. I'm assuming that implies that he's waiting for Hank to finish getting drunk. I have no idea. That's just the only thing I can imagine is happening right now. So let's see. Hank is a drunk is what I'm saying. Fick! Motherfucker.
But November 6th, so that interrogation happened at 12:41 in the morning, and this is now 9 hours later.
Yep.
I mean, no, yeah, 9 hours, and yeah.
Oh, wow.
So roughly 9 hours later after that interrogation.
Oh, what?
The graphics are good, right?
Yeah, they are. I don't even know where we are right now.
Gotta find Amanda.
Yeah, they fucking changed it up hard.
This don't look like no police station I ever heard of.
It's time to find Amanda.
They say English. They speak English in what?
What? Say what again?
Say Fick again, motherfucker.
Oh, I love Connor's voice. Let's see if it's
Amanda.
awesome. I love it.
Found that bitch quick as fuck.
Connor, it's good to see you.
Oh my God, this is like Matrix.
Congratulations, Connor.
She's like the lady, right? Isn't she? That's awesome.
Yeah, the fucking. What's her name? The Oracle.
You interrogated it was very clever. You've been remarkably efficient, Connor.
Thank
Ooh,
you,
man.
Amanda.
Thanks, man.
We've asked the DPD to transfer it to us for further study. It may teach us something about what happened.
Still going with the calling it.
The interrogation seemed challenging. What did you think of the deviant?
What did I think of the deviant? definitely Trump.
It showed signs of PTSD after being abused by its
I
owner.
love his voice. I love Connor
As if
for
its
some
original
reason. I don't know
program had
why.
been completely replaced by
Brian
new
Deckard
instructions.
is the name of the actor.
He's great. I want him to be in more
Lieutenant
shit.
Anderson has been officially assigned to the deviancy case.
Let me see what else he was in. Well,
He's a drunk.
He's obviously not what I was expecting. But I don't have enough information yet to form a definitive opinion.
Unfortunately, we have no choice but to work with him. What do you think is the best approach?
he's in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nice.
Yeah, he plays the local pedestrian population.
Adapt to his personality.
He plays what?
It is in the best
The
interest of
local
investigation
pedestrian
that I avoid
population.
conflict and
Perfect.
try to
He plays
accommodate
various
his
voices in Mafia 3 as well, uncredited.
That's great.
More and more
He was in True
show
Blood.
signs of deviancy.
It was Dave.
There are
I
millions
don't
in
remember Dave.
circulation.
I don't know.
If they become unstable, the consequences will be disastrous.
Uh-oh.
You're
Is
the
it-
most
is it
advanced
Awakened?
prototype
I don't know what
cyberlife
that
has
is.
ever created.
Yeah, so now
Whoa.
this is
Only
probably
you
his
can figure out
biggest
what's happening
project.
to you.
Connor is the most advanced
You can count on
android
me.
Cyberlife has ever made.
Yep.
That's cool.
This is like
Come on,
a
Connor.
6 degrees of separation with
little
Law and Order. He was on Law and Order, the criminal intent at some point.
Damn. Yeah, I
Way
love
back.
this guy. I want him to be in everything.
2010. This might be his big jumping off point right here.
Oh man, I really thought for a second that was going to be the end of this chapter. I was like, wow, they're really just like not even trying anymore. They're just like, and now it's 94 seconds.
94 seconds.
Can I help you?
I'm here to see Lieutenant Anderson.
V, no, this is
Do you have
PS4.
authorization?
Yes.
What?
The V-Power VS is this Xbox.
Oh yeah, I
Lieutenant
didn't see
Anderson
that.
hasn't
God,
arrived
good call.
yet, but you can wait at his desk.
I thought you were talking to me. I was like, yeah, I know, I'm playing it.
Yeah.
A lot of shit. Oh, it's
I wonder whether they like base the androids' looks on real humans.
You still here?
I mean, in game.
thought
I mean,
your assignment
when
was
they
over.
created these
It's
androids,
just
was
been
there
extended.
a human model that they based them
Right.
off of?
Hank's gonna
Like
be
the Terminator?
overjoyed to hear that. You were right about that.
based
Andrew.
off of that guy.
It's been quiet in the cell all night.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you didn't
Scheduled
see
for
that
transfer
that
today.
horrible version of the movie? Everything was like Terminator.
No.
Terminator, the like Genesis or whatever, where they show
No,
they
I don't
got
watch that.
they got what's his name to be in it, and what's his name, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they have him talking, and he has like a really bad southern like United States voice. So he's like, yeah, welcome all to down to the comedy. It's so the whole thing is supposed to be that he was based off of that guy. And you're like, oh, that makes it so much worse that you have
And
like,
then- but we hated
Arnold
his voice, so we
Schwarzenegger,
changed
like
it up.
talking over, yeah, because the whole thing is they're like, well, why does he have like such that voice? And it's just pretty dumb. It's really dumb, but they tried to like explain why would he have like a fucking Austrian accent, and the whole thing is he's like based on an American guy, but they thought he was too shitty American down south, so they were like, well, that wouldn't be scary to people. Because the voice they dub in is like so cheesy that they were like, well, people wouldn't be scared of that, so we needed it to be a scary voice, so we thought like the Austrian voice would be scary to people.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I forgot.
Yeah, V, this game should be pretty cheap at this point.
Look for Lieutenant Anderson.
I think Craig got it for $20.
Yeah.
Right? 20 bucks?
Yes. Yep. There he is. Lieutenant Anderson.
Came out like a full year ago at least, I think. The graphics
No,
are great.
no, it was like
I really
summertime.
like
I
this
thought it
game.
was last summer.
Lieutenant Anderson usually
Yeah,
arrives.
probably less than that then, yeah.
he was
Maybe
May-
six
May of
months.
last year, I think.
If we're
Because in
lucky,
our
we'll see
May
him before
episode, it
noon.
was just about to come out.
Thanks.
Ah,
When we recorded one in like early May, and
these
you
fools
would-
are
you would
like,
say
oh,
it was about-
he
you had just played
he
the
wants to.
what?
Oh, the trailer or whatever.
Yeah, you
Or
had
the
just played
yeah,
the
the
demo.
the
Yeah, you were
yeah.
excited that it was coming out in like the next week. Look how he sits like a little kid. Oh, I love how they made me
Motherfuckers
sit.
are like, oh, you want Detective Anderson? Oh, well, that motherfucker will come in around noon sometime,
Right.
depending on how hard he hit the sauce last night.
Right. I love how they made me sit, and then they immediately are like, stand.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's not getting here anytime soon. Oh, I can't even read.
Are you,
Couldn't even read
you
one of my
been
options.
drinking for a while? You're not even able.
What'd you say?
Yeah, listen to what fucking.
Knights of the
Yeah, listen to
Black
what
Death.
music is playing.
You know, it like showed like options on the screen that I couldn't actually read, which was weird.
Call Hank Anderson.
Call
Hi,
Hank
this is Hank.
Anderson.
Not here at the moment. You can leave a message if that's what turns you on, but don't expect me to call back.
Hey, Hank.
Beep.
This is Connor. You have a job that
Lieutenant
requires
Anderson?
you to be here
I
right
love it,
now.
yeah.
Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife. It's almost noon, and I'm waiting for you at the office.
I love it. That's how he ends his message. It's almost noon, and I'm waiting for you at the office. And then he just hangs up. He doesn't even know,
I know
to
some
say, like...
I've known some humans that would leave messages
Yeah,
that
sure.
like that.
Anti-android
You're like-
slogans. Use your brain, not your android. Android free space. Anti-android slogans.
Oh man, he doesn't seem very keen on androids. This is Connor. If you could be here before 1, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Have a good one, V. Thanks for
Have a good
tuning
one,
in.
dude. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Detroit basketball cap.
So he likes basketball. Detroit basketball team.
Oh, here we go.
Say the fucking Pistons. Just say the fucking Pistons.
I know. Detroit police dismantle a network of red ice dealers. More than 50 arrests throughout the country. Detroit violence has dealt a massive blow to the city's growing red ice epidemic, with a number of high-profile dealers and suppliers now behind bars and narcotics seized with a street value of $500,000. Detective Hank Anderson, a young but hugely talented detective, is said to have been instrumental in the operation, which took months of planning. The DA described the work of Detective Anderson and his colleagues as model investigative work. Detective Anderson promoted to the rank
Compare
of
that to the
lieutenant,
fucking alcoholic we see
I
now.
know. Becoming the youngest lieutenant on the Detroit Police Force, Lieutenant Hank Anderson was among the most decorated detectives in DPD's recent history.
Look how
He's
good he
weird.
looks now too.
I know.
By the way, you know how
Securing
like when we
a
talk
number
about his past movies,
Yeah.
we talk about what like the
Cemetery.
Green Mile I think he was
Yeah.
in, or Pet Cemetery. We're forgetting he was the fucking big dude in Highlander.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow, good call.
So if you look up like
That's him
Detroit
right there. He's huge.
Become Human's IMDb page in the trivial, you'll find that it's funny that he's paired up with Connor in this like kind of antagonistic relationship, and then in the same way, Highlander. What was the name of the Highlander's name?
I forgot. What is
What
it?
was the Highlander's name? Guess.
Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor McLeod.
Yeah, Connor McLeod, yep. Captain Fowler said the promotion was long overdue, describing Anderson as among the most talented police I've ever worked with. The new lieutenant is expected to rise quickly through the ranks of the department, is already being tipped as a future commissioner. Wow. New record seizure of red ice in Detroit. Nearly a ton of red ice discovered in the hold of a boat after a long investigation conducted by Lieutenant Anderson of the Detroit Police Force. Nice. If I wanted to be ignored, I'd talk to my wife. Ah, sorry. Were we ignoring him? I thought we were.
I thought you broke out.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else.
You told us. You told us you were leaving.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Stick around, bruh.
Unit responsible for the Red Ice Network dismantling of 2028. A good cop. Real police. Not seen since 2019. Owes me $50. Asshole. Nice girl. That's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny that they did that. All right, let's see what's. Oh. Canine hairs from a Saint Bernard dog. Thought that would be more interesting. Origin Jimmy's Bar, wood phosphorus matches. What else can we find here? Oh, we got some donuts. Calories 452, saturated fatty acids 13 grams, cholesterol 19 milligrams, carbohydrates 51. That doesn't sound great. Let's check this. It's got a bonsai tree, Japanese maple. Alright. Let's check for fingerprints, cold coffee, traces of caffeine. Nailed it. Alright. Found everything. Lieutenant Anderson was a decorated officer. Okay. Oh, jeez.
It's good to see you again, Lieutenant.
Oh, Jesus.
Hank,
Ah,
in my office.
He looks like fucking hot mess. Anderson in my office. It's like, you've been shooting up the city and causing all kinds of property damage. So it turns into your standard buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I've
Captain.
got 10 new cases involving androids on my desk every day.
And your fucking android friend over here is licking blood off the fucking ground like a fucking freak. Creeping all the other officers out.
But now,
Making everyone very
reports of
uncomfortable.
assaults, and even homicides like that guy
Licking
last
blood
night.
bullshit.
This isn't just CyberLife's problem anymore. It's now a criminal investigation, and we've got to deal with it before the shit hits the fan. I want you to investigate these cases and see if there's any link.
Why me? Why do I gotta be the one to deal with this shit? I am the least
you
qualified
have a
cop in
killer
the country
beard.
to handle this case. I know jack shit about androids, Jeffrey. I can barely change the settings on my own phone.
Everybody's overloaded. I think you're perfectly qualified for this
You
type of
barely change the
investigation.
settings on my
Bullshit!
phone.
The truth is, nobody wants to investigate these fucking androids, and you let me hold in the bag.
CyberLife sent over this android to help with the investigation. It's a state-of-the-art prototype. It'll act as your partner.
No
don't you get yourself a
fucking
haircut
way.
and
I
take
don't
a
need
fucking
partner,
shower?
And certainly not this plastic prick.
Wow,
Hey,
just called
you
a
are
plastic
seriously starting to
prick.
piss me off. You are a police lieutenant. You are supposed to do what I say and shut your goddamn
He's
mouth.
focusing
You know
on
what my goddamn
Connor's
mouth has
face.
to say to
It's
you?
completely
Okay.
unchanged.
He's just sitting
What?
there.
I'll
He's just
pretend
got
like I
called
didn't
a
hear
plastic
you, so I don't have
prick.
to add any more pages to your disciplinary folder, because it already looks like a fucking novel. This conversation is over.
Hank seems like a
Jesus
dick,
Christ,
huh?
why are you doing
Yeah.
this to me? You know how much I hate these fucking things. Why are you doing this to me?
Listen,
Jesus.
I've had just about enough of your bitching. Either you do your job or you hand in your badge. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do.
Ooh, Captain Ballard told him to go fuck off.
Hand him the fucking badge. And go eat trash with the other homeless.
Shinebox.
I wonder whether Lieutenant Anderson is really the best
I don't
person
have to
for
listen to this.
Hey,
Let's see what
I don't
this
need a machine to tell me how to handle my men, okay?
psychopath says.
So get the fuck out of my office.
Wow, alright. Sorry.
Have a nice day, Captain.
I love Connor. He told him, get the fuck out of my office. Have a nice day,
Have a nice
Captain.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Very well. I will leave your fucking office now,
Point taken.
as per your
Sir.
wishes.
Oh no. Famous Detroit painter dies.
Oh,
He did.
Bishop.
Bishop's dead.
We could read that in
We'll
the
have to read
post.
these. Yeah, we can read these after the fact.
Oh, Manfred. Yeah, we got his name right, Carl.
Yep.
Even though it says Niet.
Alright, let's see.
Niet.
Check on Hank. No. Want to check on a dick? You call me a plastic prick.
Actually, I don't think I found that article. So we may not be reading that one later.
Oh,
Unless
well.
you want to go back and read it now. But
Yeah, we can.
it's up to you.
Yeah, let's see real quick.
I
what
can
it
either way.
says. Russian president responds to Warren's warning. Russian president responds to Warren's warning. Following President Warren's demand that all Russian troops withdraw from the Arctic immediately, President Ivanov of Russia has issued a response. Ivanov branded
Go
Warren's
fuck
comments
yourself.
as megaphone diplomacy and said U.S. saber rattling is the #1 threat to stability in the region.
Where have we seen this before?
Yeah, exactly. The Kremlin produced a detailed statement outlining Russia's claim to the territory, and Ivanov said he would remind President Warren that the United States is subject to UN conventions like everybody else. The conflict shows no signs
Listen,
of abating.
Mr.
This one,
Ivanov,
we
I
did
would
find out,
prefer
right,
that...
the red ice or whatever that shit, the stuff that they use for the androids, there's a ton of it in the
Arctic, right.
That's why there's this big fight there.
And since androids are the wave of the future, everybody wants
Right.
in.
Reports of famous artist Carl Manfred's death have been confirmed. The coroner described a fatal cardiac event induced by a stressful domestic situation. Manfred's son, Leo, has asked the media to respect his family's privacy at this difficult time while he's doing drugs. Carl Manfred rose to fame in the 2020s as a figurehead of neo-symbolism with powerful and dark works in the mold of Francis Bacon. Proliferate years followed until a dark period marked by alcohol and drugs but the artist has apparently returned to work in recent months. The governor of Detroit expressed her condolences to the family on behalf of the city, describing Manfred as one of Detroit's brightest lights. A collection of Manfred's paintings will be auctioned by his estate in the coming weeks. Also, we didn't know that he did drugs too. Then that's why he's so.
Yeah, big money for his son.
Yeah. All right, so now I might as well go talk to this fucking plastic prick. I'm going to.
No, we are the plastic prick.
I know, but I'm rubber, you're glue. I'm going to say something pragmatic.
Take a look at these samples yet?
I know you don't like it.
Listen, you're going to have to deal with me, so you might as well get used to it.
So, I don't know, maybe eat a dick.
We'll both have to make an effort.
Now that
Seems like
we're
he's going to get up
partners, it
and
would be
punch him.
great to get to know each other better.
I'll chase it out.
He's
He
not
looks really
long
bummed
before
out.
he gets up and punches.
He's really trying to.
In any case, I'd like you to know I'm very happy to be working with you.
Oh, this guy's a good actor,
I'm sure we'll
man.
make a great team.
You fucking Hank.
Yeah.
Is there a desk anywhere I could use?
Is there a desk anywhere I could use? Is there a desk anywhere I could use?
Here you go, sit and spin.
He is really. Wait, I kind of. Nah, I didn't want to do that, but that's fine. Oh, I unlocked a bunch of things. Let's see. Anti-androids.
A lot of people don't appreciate having androids around. I was wondering, is there any reason in particular you despise me?
It's a rough question to ask.
Yeah. There is one.
Oh, Hank's getting mad.
Whatever you did, it's not working.
You're a Detroit Gears fan, right?
Detroit.
Yep, there's one. Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Three-point
Eat a fucking dick.
Did you see the game?
That's what I was watching at the bar last night.
Oh.
Oh man, I'm fucking up with Hank right now.
Jesus. You went from actually kind of like being okay with you to now being like neutral.
The dog hair's on your chair. I like dogs.
I like dogs.
What's your dog's name?
What's it to you?
Hank, you're just gonna hate me for everything I ask you.
Sumo. I call him Sumo.
You creep them the fuck out. You're like, you have a dog, right? I can see the fucking hairs on your chair.
Do you listen to Knights of the Black Death? I really like that music. Full of energy.
His neck is hanging low, and that
listen
t-shirt
to
is
heavy
stretched out
metal?
as fuck.
Well, I don't really listen to music as such, but I'd like to.
Oh, that was cute. I don't really listen to music as such, but I'd like to.
Have you known Captain Fowler for long?
Yeah. Too long.
I was wondering, do you always arrive at the office at this time?
I arrive when I arrive. Stop busting my balls, okay?
Yeah, that was. You should have known not to do that.
Yeah. I didn't really know what that
If you have any
question was going
files
to
on
ask.
Oh, you should have known. What are your hours here, Hank? I noticed you get here at noon.
I noticed you get
That's
here
pretty
way later
usual,
than
right?
everyone else. That's normal, right? I think I fucked up because I wanted to go examine the deviant, and I did this, and it looks like now I'm stuck doing this. The plaintiffs report that he left his android at home as usual when he went to work. When he returned, the android was nowhere to be found. No trace of break-in in the apartment. The android may have left home without being ordered to. Plaintiff claims to have been... Oh, what am I doing here? The plaintiff claims to have been attacked by an AB500. Okay, model android working as a waiter in the Fast Coney Dogs restaurant chain situated at 842 Chamberlain Avenue. The plaintiff claims the android lunged at him unexpectedly and attempted to strangle a man before leaving the scene. The android remains at large.
So these are all deviant reports.
Right. Attacked by our android in AP700. The android also trashed several rooms in the house before taking flight. The plaintiff, the manager of the Eden Club, reported the unexplained disappearance of a sex android. Now we're talking. The android disappeared after accompanying a customer to his home and never returned to the club. Famous painter Carl Manfred was found dead in his home following an altercation between his android and his son. The latter witnessed statements attest to the android behaving violently. The android is thought to be a prototype, unknown model, and serial number, and was destroyed at the scene by attending officers. Thank God they destroyed that thing. That thing sounds like a monster. Plaintiff claims he was violently attacked by his domestic android, an AX400 model. The android has just returned from being repaired the previous day and shows signs of
Todd.
in the past.
Fucking Todd.
Fucking Todd. Scan these motherfucking files.
243 files. First dates back 9 months. It all started in Detroit and quickly spread across the country. An AX400 is reported to have assaulted a man last night. That could be a good starting point for our investigation.
This guy's like, don't bother me, I'm doodling over here.
Dude, don't bother me, I'm busy trying to ignore you.
I know you didn't ask for this investigation, Lieutenant, but I'm sure you're a professional.
Why
I've
don't you
said
go
this
fuck
many
yourself?
times, but I love Connor the actor is great. He's great. I like his ability to act like this way.
I also love Hank, though.
Yeah, like their interplay is
pure contempt.
It's literally Lethal Weapon.
I didn't come here to wait until you feel like working.
It's a great line.
I can sign this mission, Lieutenant.
Listen,
I'm
asshole.
gonna wait
If it was up to me, I'd throw the lot of you in a dumpster and set a match to it. So stop pissing me off. But
I
things are
love
gonna
that I
get
just told him
nasty.
to go fuck himself, and then he just
Lieutenant?
threw me up against the wall.
Sorry to disturb you. I have some information on the AX400 that attacked the guy last night.
All right, so me and Hank
been
not
seen
getting
in the
along
Raven
very well
District.
this mission.
I'm
I've
on
made
it.
some bad choices. Hey Hank, can we talk about your dog again? Because that seemed to work. Shot the bed on every other thing I asked you.
Because you asked him, like, I notice you're late every day.
Yeah, I did fuck that up.
They
a
still
little
pay
bit,
you
but-
the same as everybody else?
Are you known to be a shitty cop, or? Oh, I unlocked a trophy. Know your partner. All right, so I learned a lot about him. So we're gonna now do what we normally do, 72%. So I did okay. Hank is still warm towards me, so that's good. Public opinion is still skeptical. I have not yet gone deviant, and Amanda trusts me. So what do you think? What do we do from here? Just dive right into it?
Yeah, I would like to ask you at this point. So this one was a weird kind of. You see, like he's switching it up now. It's not the same formula. He like alters it every. So this one was like I think like I described it this way. This one takes a little bit of step away from. Normally we've seen Hank is just like that, detective uncovering clues type of formula,
Connor,
which
you
we
mean?
like
Connor?
because it's a break from the other shit. Yeah, right. With Connor. I'm sorry. Yes, it's Connor, not Hank. But
It's not Hank's game.
this one seems to have taken. Yeah, this one seems to have taken the a spin where he's still like uncovering clues, but this time the clues he's uncovering are like about his partner in the background and
Learning how
and
to
then
interact,
also
yeah.
furthering the investigation as well.
Right.
To get to the next starting point. And this whole Zen Garden interaction with Amanda is kind of the introduction of another series of,
Right.
So, and I think
kinda
it's interesting
joking,
that you
but
said
that was
you
very
identified
much-
her as
yeah,
the
that is-
Oracle.
Right. That was very much clearly, like, reminded me immediately. Whether or not it was intended to, I mean, it seemed obvious that it would, but I don't know. But it very much seemed like, oh, this is like the cyborg or the android kind of like mind control, or not mind control, meaning they're being controlled, but like this is the central intelligence, right, of the androids, where like he was going in and checking in with her, because she was very much like, we're
So you
very
don't think she's
excited.
human? You think she's an android?
My perception was that she was, because like I got it as if it was like he was literally in a place that didn't exist, is only exists in the mind of an android, that like he's going in and checking in, because she was like, we're very excited that you are, working with, blah, 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 blah. Like all of her comments were almost like very much like we are Legion, like we are all of us. Because she kept saying like, we're happy in this and we're excited to hear that and we're very proud of you. You did well.
Where
It
did you
seemed
hear
challenging.
Legion from? Where is that reference you're making? I'm just curious because in Dead by Daylight, that like as you found out it's not out yet, but episode 28, there's a Dead by Daylight killer called episode 28 of Life in the Man Cave. We had a trivia game, and one of them involved the Dead by Daylight killer called the Legion, which is a legion of like several different high school kids or in that vicinity of age group that are all like a serial killer together, known as the Legion. So where did you get your reference from?
That is a known it's a well-known quote, like the "We Are Legion" thing, but I don't know
I never heard it.
Yeah, I don't know where I specifically know it from, but like I've heard it many, many times before, and I mean I know there's, like a separate thing. Actually, this is just a sidebar, but there's like that Marvel TV show that came out about. It was based on a character named Legion, who is a reasonably unknown
it's supposedly
character.
linked to. I just googled it. It's linked to Anonymous as well.
Yeah.
There is a documentary called "We Are Legion," the story of the hacktivists.
Yes, the hacktivists.
The workers' self-described hacktivist collective, Anonymous, right?
Right, because Legion is the idea of Legion is it's a number of unknown people, right, that all come together to
that are all come as one
purpose.
Yeah,
exactly. So
there's
actually, if you go back now, it's all. Now I'm thinking of a million different options. Like if you ever played what's that movie? That game Mass Effect. In Mass Effect, there's this entire thing called the Geth, and the Geth are actually similar to this. The Geth are a group of androids. It's a race of androids that are created by another race of like aliens within the game, and then the Geth eventually rise up against their creators and do a similar thing. They kind of go deviant, and the whole thing is they become known as Legion because they are all linked together, like their brains are all linked. So they all, even though you can interact with any individual robot, they're all linked together at a fundamental level. So it's a cool way that anytime you're talking to one, you're essentially talking to the hive mind, and so they call themselves Legion. So that's where the "We Are Legion," is kind of a well-known trope of the idea. I'm sure it probably is like like an old book that was written, and that quote has been used from something, but it's pretty cool. That was my perspective of the way she was presenting herself back to the game. Was she was presenting herself as like the hive mind of the androids, and she was kind of doing the like we are this, we are that, we are excited that you're you made it this far, and that kind of thing, which seemed very
interesting.
Legion-esque.
I saw her as human.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
I mean, but I didn't really
just
think about it that deeply in the beginning. So
right. So cool. All right. So started in. Oh, so no, you were asking questions about that up front. Was there other stuff you wanted to touch on before we got into just the walkthrough?
I thought the Zen Garden. I thought the Zen Garden was a real place. That
he,
like physically, it was just the headquarters of the company he was reporting to.
Okay.
But that's interesting that you see it that way.
Right. So I mean I even got. I mean it was kind of separate on the. I mean now we're going down the Matrix path, but it almost was like. Clearly I said the Oracle part, but it also had an element of like when they go to the architect, right? Like when you're in like the place that exists within the mind, but it didn't actually, it doesn't actually exist. It's just a place. It's a a place where your brain can go and focus have this conversation. So this is the vibe I got. So I thought that was kind of cool and well done. Did you unlock?
Cool. We saw it two different ways. Yeah. I didn't unlock those two unlocked portions, so that must have involved walking around.
Right.
You found her faster than I did, but I still didn't. I didn't hit any of those two unlocks.
Right.
I didn't go that far.
And again, even as I was doing it, I started to realize right as I was walking up to her, I was like, oh, I probably could walk around and explore this place more. But I was like,
but then you also were like, it's awkward now that she saw me and I saw her. It's kind of awkward if I'm just
I'm just gonna walk over and
throw
talk
up a finger and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep walking around.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I'm here.
It would
I'm
be
glad you played it that way.
It would be interesting to see what those other things are.
Yeah,
Because,
but also it would have been weird
like-
if you both looked at each other and then you were just like,
Right.
all right, now let's go keep exploring this little garden.
Right, I'm just going to wander around would literally be me, like, it would literally be CraigMakk playing the way CraigMakk normally does, which is, yo, hold on a minute, I'll be right there. I'm going to go check out, like, down this weird, path for no reason. Whereas, like, in the course of this game, I've already established I continue to play this role of, like, when I see the thing I need to do, I'm going to do it because I'm playing the role of them being, if they were making decisions for real. And so
Right.
it actually, I'm still at least, without even intentionally doing it, I am still continuing it down the same path that I have, which is kind of interesting and cool for me to realize, like, I'm playing it straight up. Like, I'm not playing it as a game. I'm playing it more, I'm playing it the way I think they would make the decisions they would make. And Connor wouldn't be like, yo, Amanda, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm going to do some recon. I'm gonna wander around the fucking Zen garden for a minute.
I'm gonna look for Easter eggs.
Right,
What's an
exactly.
Easter egg?
That's cool,
Never
right?
mind.
So talk to Amanda. All right. So that brings us to arrive at the police station. So now find Lieutenant Anderson. That was the next thing you could do. And so at this point, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because there's some stuff here. Okay. So Hank arrives. 99% of people, that shit happened. And then Hank storms
Who the
out.
fuck is what? There was a 1% where he didn't arrive. Like, what the fuck? How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't get that part. Because we don't even see the two splits, or either Hank arrives and wait for Hank. So is there literally a person
Lieutenant
where
Anderson.
Hank never shows up? And
Maybe you're just like,
the game
fuck
never
it, I'm
ends?
leaving without him.
Right, I guess. I guess 1% of people. Oh, maybe. Maybe there was an option where it was like, wait for Hank or explore, and maybe you could, if you explored first, it's a different thing than Hank arriving. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that one doesn't actually make sense to me. I don't even know what that split would be.
Yeah.
But now let's follow this one first. This was explore the station, so 99% of people explore
I didn't get any of those unlocks. You read the famous painter dies, which I didn't. I actually found another. Oh, this is a magazine you missed, which is Read Robotic Parenting.
Oh, that's
It's another. Yeah.
Did you do the follow Hank into Fowler's office, or did you stay outside when they said you could explore?
I followed him in for my memory. Yeah, I did. I followed him
Okay.
in with 75% of people.
Yep.
I read Ivanov Says Niet. I learned about Hank like you did.
Wait, that's
I
weird.
examined
So
his desk.
you read only one of the articles? You didn't switch to the second article?
So weird, right? I don't know why that. I guess
by
I
that
didn't.
point you knew, like, because the first time
Yeah.
I think I did that because I didn't realize that you could switch. Like, I thought once I picked it up, I automatically read it. But like once I knew that was the thing, I knew I had to switch to the second one to unlock it. It's funny that like you got into 12 chapters in and then you were
I
like,
skipped because I think
fuck it.
Ivanov was the
It's the
second
first
thing
one.
you got
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
so
the
you
first one,
skipped it.
so I didn't switch. Okay, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess I just didn't. I should have. Oh well.
that's pretty funny.
Unless it ended up being robotic parenting, which was coupled in mine for some reason, which is weird, because I found a robotic parenting article. So maybe that's based on something. Oh, I know why. Because in my timeline, he didn't die.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow, that's amazing.
In my
Okay,
game, he
good
didn't
call. Yeah,
die.
you're
That's
right.
awesome. So that's
they're not gonna have
so
that
I get an
Yeah,
article
they're
called
gonna have a
"Read about
separate
robotic
article.
parenting."
That's pretty cool.
Oh, see, everything is
cool.
a butterfly effect.
That's pretty cool. Yep, that makes sense. So if we go down here, is Hank arrives 99%, and then Hank storms out 99%.
Yeah, he stormed out with me too.
Yep. And then talk to Hank. Did you do the learn about Hank? Where like you looked at his desk and examined all the shit on his desk?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you did all that too.
79%. Yep.
All right, so everyone examines the files, talk about the
I
case.
don't remember pissing him off a lot like you did though. I stuck with the death metal thing. I asked about his dog, and then I stayed away. I definitely did not ask him what time he rolls into work. I figured that would piss him off.
Well, that actually didn't piss him off, which was funny. I mean, like he got pissed, but
he said, "Why the fuck? What the fuck is it to you?"
No, but it did. It didn't pop up one of those things where it showed like a negative arrow. So it's like the one thing that I thought would
he
be
might
the
have
most
just really hated
thing.
you by that point.
Right,
so
at that
much
point he's
that
like, "Eat it, fucking dick." Which is funny when you go back and look that it says that I'm still warm with Hank after all that, where it seemed like he threw me up against the wall. He was pretty pissed, yet I'm still warm with Hank. I don't know what it's like if Hank hates you, but it can't be good. It has to be fucking terrible.
You must have really fucked up.
And you know it's real bad when one of the things just says Hank is mad. Did that happen to you too? Is that like the only outcome? Is that Hank is mad? It says examine files, talk about the case, and then Hank is mad.
No, it happened to me too. Hank is mad. That's weird.
All right, so he has to get mad no matter what.
Yeah, and then he gets the lead for me as well as you, 97%.
Yeah, and then whatever the other one.
I mean, you
so
probably have to be a super fuck up to not get a lead.
Right. I wonder what the other thing is. I mean, 97% of people. So I wonder what the other option is, where they come in there like, we got nothing for you, Hank. We got nothing. And he's like, fuck you, robot.
Dicking around.
So what was your overall percentage on this one?
Let's see. 72.
All right. So same exact thing because we did all the same stuff except you read the different magazine.
Yeah, different article. Right.
Yeah. But you think you didn't piss him off as much as I did, but apparently you did.
I guess it's basically all's well that ends well.
So yeah, so Hank just seems like he's a shitty, angry dude. I think no matter what. Because even if you're like, hey man, I like music, and he's like, fuck you. And then you're like, hey, you have a nice dog, and he's like, fuck you, but I like my dog. And then you can say to him like, you can be like, so do you like this job? And he's like, I don't know if you heard me say this before, but fuck you. Like no matter what you say to him. I do like that. Yeah, that was kind of great. I do like that. My one big moment of like being a dick to him was when I was like, "Yo, like I get it that you fucking hate this job, but they did not bring me here to sit around and wait for you to be ready to do your job." And then Hank stood the fuck up and slammed me up against the glass and was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that." But that was Connor's big moment of like balling up for a minute and like trying to be a tough guy.
It's like, oh, you want to get fucking tough?
Yeah, he's
well,
like,
maybe not so much.
Yeah, and Connor was like, I may have fucked that one up. I apologize.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah, I didn't mean it, Hank. Would you like to go out for another beer? So,
I'm paying.
As always, because I'm a plastic prick.
So on that note, I think we can end on plastic prick.
I think we did. I think we crushed this one pretty well.
We can end on plastic prick and on the back life in the
This was we absolutely can. This was a good episode overall. I think we got a little bit of learning about the partner and everything like that, which was cool. And like I said, anytime I get to see Connor, I get excited because that motherfucker is killing it every time he shows up. And the interaction with him and Hank is pretty awesome. So I'm down with it. So
I'm getting a weird reading on the next episode. So on the next mission, on the next Ready Player 2, I'm seeing. So the title of the chapter is On the Run. It would be our mission 13, and it's floating between Kara and Connor on mine.
Oh, weird.
It's showing Kara on yours.
No, mine. I can't see it because I can't see it until it starts.
Okay, so it's showing like it's possibly both characters might be in this next one.
So maybe this lead is a lead because the AX400 is Kara. So,
true.
So the last lead is probably maybe you go back and forth between him chasing her and her trying to get away, which that'd be cool as shit.
Could be.
Excited about that. Yeah, so that'd be awesome. So we shall see. So I'm very excited. Yeah, you want to just do another one, right? No, I'm just kidding. Cannot do another one now, but we can definitely get another one.
If you push me, I'll do it. But
just tell our wives, like, we love you, but
they're gonna be like, again, 5 a.m. again.
You guys just recorded. You had to literally crash at another man's house. Do you need to do this again? Yeah, we can't help it. We're addicted to the game, man. We can't help it.
You're like, well, it was Kara and Connor in a single mission.
I mean, honey, what did you want me to do? What could I do? I'm only one man. All right.
So
on that note,
this might be an off-air discussion that we have.
we are going to wrap this up, but that does also mean that I am now super excited about the first crossover
Wrap it
mission.
up, B.
So we are going to wrap this gavel up, B, and then we're going to do another one very soon. So maybe in the next day or two, we're going to get another one of these going. Hopefully this weekend.
There we go. I told you there'd be a point where you start getting addicted to these motherfuckers.
I'm fucking pumped.
And you're hunting me down like, motherfucker, I need to find out what happens.
Stop with the whole sex thing. Hang it up, and let's go get another game. Be like, all right, honey, I'm sorry. I mean, like, I'm just going to pull out now.
I got to pull out now.
Get this. Yeah, I'm just going to clean up a little bit.
I got to pull the squid out.
Pull a squid out. On that note, it's been a good time, Jess. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've made this amazing,
shit.
and I'm excited to see what happens next. Thank you, Connor.
If we ended
for
now,
being
we're under an
incredible.
hour for the first time on these shows.
I know. I'm going to end up right now.
Yeah,
Let's end it.
45
Let's end it.
seconds.
Let's end it. Let's end it. All right, dude. I will see you later. Peace out. And go check us out on Live from the Man Cave as well. That's where all the good shit happens as well. Peace out.